Hi, I'm FJ Law. I'm in London and I'm going to play my song Catching 22 for We Found New Music with Grant Owens. I hope you like it.
Stood outside the airport, yeah, it started at the end. The way you're hanging on to me, it fucks with my head. You're playing on a chessboard, you're making moves again. I know you're keeping my old clothes in your apartment. And I learned too slow, I'm old enough to know somehow with you I don't. So I need to leave this party, 'cause your body beats my mind. Now you got me catching 22, and it's like want you but you don't want me. I'm yours but you're not mine. Now you got me catching 22, and it's like stomach in an ocean, stopping everything, swallowing the feelings down like daily medicine. Perpetual emotion, the mess you got me in. You cool me up to cool me around, and cruel as just friends. We learn to stop, we're old enough to know somehow with this we don't. So I need to leave this party, 'cause your body beats my mind. Now you got me catching 22, and it's like want you but you don't want me. I'm yours but you're not mine. Now you got me catching 22, and it's like stood outside the airport, yeah, started at the end. The way you're hanging on to me, it fucks with my head. You're playing on the chessboard, you're making moves again. I know you're keeping my old clothes in your apartment.
And we're back on We Found New Music. I am your host, Grant Owens. We're joined by FJ Law in the studio. How are you, man? Well, not in the studio, but
Yo,
joining us from London.
yeah, London. Not in the studio, but from my sofa, my comfy new sofa, which I've actually moved into this flat today, and it's quite a stressful morning, I'm not going to lie, but we don't need to go into that.
Well, what matters is you had some time to perform for us. The new single, which is Catching 22, it's out now. Go stream it. Thank you so much, man, for taking the time to perform that for us. And
Dude, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure.
it's an absolute pleasure to take some time to talk with you. Thanks for taking the time. There's also another great single I want all of you to check out called Tongue Tied, which I have been playing on the air, and that's the track that caught my ear. We're going to be talking a little bit more with FJ Law here about it. So for a start, so you're in London, and where are you from originally?
So yeah, I come from a tiny little village that you probably wouldn't have heard of down on the south coast called Milford-on-Sea. And yeah, it's a tiny place where, there's almost terrible connections to the outside world. It's a very secluded little town, but my girlfriend lives here in London. So I made the trip up to here, London, when it was the first lockdown here in England. And yeah, I've stayed here ever since. And yeah, kind of just done everything from this flat, really. You know, like a lot of the things that I've done musically have kind of been virtually, and it seems like that's the way it's happening these days. But you know, I think it's kind of it could be, it's not a change for the better, but it's a change that is good in certain ways. You know what I mean? So but it's been fun. It's been fun. Like I've been able to work with people from the States who, you know, before lockdown, I definitely wouldn't have been able to work with, you know, unless I'd been over there. So it's opened new doors for sure.
Well, you're a new artist. You're releasing music, so you just have to make it work right now. And you were mentioning
Yeah.
you have a studio in this current flat that you're in. So you're working on the FJ Law project. Tell me the backstory on FJ Law and your previous groups and how you came to this moment.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It seems like it's been quite like a long road so far, even though it seems like FJ Law is just beginning. But it's like I started playing guitar, doing a singer-songwriter thing when I was kind of 16, and kind of moved on to being in a band called Little Giants with a couple of my mates, and did a few great things with that. And then things came to a close with that a few years ago. And after that, towards the end of that project, I started producing music just because one, I was just interested every single time I went, you know, to a songwriting session. I was seeing all of the producers in front of me making these amazing things. So I was like, I want to kind of do that myself. But also I think you get to a point where like you try to be as independent as possible, like creating. It's a more satisfying way of doing it, I think. And then yeah, I knew that I will always carry on doing music. So I just needed to figure out what this new project was going to be. And all of these songs that I've released so far have kind of been the songs that I guess have really, you know, stuck with me over the past few years. And there've been a lot. There've been a lot, but these are kind of the ones that I'm, you know, super happy with, and have kind of summed up my kind of, I guess, experiences over the past like few years since going like you know, starting this like FJ Law project. So yeah, it's been really, really good. The reaction's been amazing so far. It's still in its foundations, but it's like I'm super happy with it. You know, with the new song that came out last week. I mean, I think it's approaching, I think 10,000 already, and it's only been a few days. And for me, that's like really crazy. Like I'm super happy with that. And you know, having songs that you produce hit New Music Friday is it's like such a life achievement for me. So yeah, I'm happy already. I'm happy as Larry.
That's so awesome. Let's see. So Catching 22, that's a fun track. I just kind of like how it's kind of jumping between different styles of music. You're a singer songwriter, but then you got like that pop vibe, and then in the middle you have that kind of electronic chorus. It almost feels a little bit more dancey than the last one. So where are you going with your sound with these songs?
Yeah, I think like I've always, ever since I started playing guitar, I've always, you know, wanted to make sure there's a good song underneath it. And, you know, I make a lot of dance beats just as like a casual thing on the side, you know, that no one ever hears. But it's like, it's important to me there's always a really, really good song underneath, because it's almost like, what's the point otherwise? So I think it's important that there's a really, really good song. But then at the same time, with doing all of the acoustic guitar music years ago, I just didn't like it when I was playing gigs and no one was dancing. Like I'm a massive, like, I love partying. I love being, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, I love being in a club dancing and stuff. So I was like, I want to do that. You know, how do I merge making these dance beats with, you know, the singer songwriter that I grew up being? So it's kind of a merge in between. And to be honest, like, I didn't really put too much thought into like exactly what, you know, what it should sound like. It's just the sound is basically just what I've gravitated towards and what is kind of landed on, and it's now a cohesive thing. It wasn't at the start, and I think that's like when you start to learn to produce it, it always seems a bit sort of spread out, but now it's like it's in this kind of electro pop, you know, dance vein, but it has, you know, the songs underneath, which is like super important to me.
Tongue Tied is quite a track, man. It's
Thank you.
super catchy. I don't. What can you tell us about Tongue Tied? Like, you were saying a little something earlier, actually, right? You've been writing that track for years. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's been a weird one with Tongue Tied. Is I started writing that in 2000. I couldn't work it out if it was 2015 or 2014. I think when I spoke to the producer, because I actually had a session with him a few weeks ago, a guy called Tom Fuller. He's a great producer in the UK. But I originally wrote the chorus with him in 2014 or 15. I think it's 2015. But we wrote the chorus then, and it never got used for the project that I was using it for at the time. And then spin forward years later, I was making a beat. I wrote some verses, and then I couldn't get the chorus right. And I think just instinctively, just randomly, I think it's because it was the same chords as what we used in the past. I sang Tongue Tied, the chorus of Tongue Tied, over this beat, and then it fit perfectly. The message and the meaning of the lyrics kind of made more sense of the verse than I'd hoped for in the start of even writing the song. And like it just all fit, and it was very, very natural. So and I usually don't use recycled lyrics. I usually kind of think that I can always do better, I guess, but for this it fit perfectly. And then yeah, the song took a few forms over the next like few months after that. And then when I was sending it to people, they had their input, and then I kind of changed it and tweaked it along the way. And then it finally, after all these years, it landed on where it is now, and I'm so happy it did, because yeah. And then to get the kind of pat on the back from New Music Friday when that first went on, that was the first song that I've produced that went on there. And I think when it actually went on New Music Friday, I looked, and I'm pretty sure I was the smallest act on that list for miles. So but yeah, and I'm just so happy that it's going down well. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So what about back to the basics? What about who are some of your inspirations as far as music?
Yeah, I would say a lot of the guys coming out of the States right now. Jeremy Zucker, Lauv.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys from the UK like Jack Garrett.
Yep.
And to be honest, like, this may sound really cheesy, but a lot of my friends who I'm surrounding myself with at the moment, people that I'm writing with, people that haven't even released music yet, it's just a lot of people that are in my kind of friendship circle, who have all got just such amazing music, like really progressive music that I'm loving. My mate Harry Strange is amazing. My friend called Tyne, she's amazing. I have a lot of people around me who actually inspire me. I think they make me work harder as well. So I think if your friends work really hard, then it makes you kind of want to work a lot harder as well.
Yeah.
But I think with the artists out, like people like Jeremy Zucker and Jack Garrett, I think they're kind of massive inspirations, because it's all about that kind of DIY approach of making it yourself and being experimental with how you're doing it, and a great song underneath a great production. And I think those guys are kind of.
So you have a new project coming out on May 14th. Make sure you plug it again. Tell us about the EP coming out.
Yeah, so this is my debut EP. I wrote and produced all the songs on this myself, and it's called Tape One. And I guess it's just a collective of songs which have kind of sculpted my songwriting and production so far in my life, I guess. It's going to be just a nice feeling to finally have it out. I feel like I've had a lot of these songs just hidden away for a very long time, and now they're finally, I can close the door on them, and just and after that, I've been making the new music as well for a long time, so a good few months now. So it's just it's an exciting time.
Very exciting. Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for taking a little time to talk to us, and we're really excited you could perform for us. Catching 22, it's out now. Go stream it. FJ Law, thank you so much for joining us on We Found New Music.
Thank you so much, Grant. Have a lovely day.